and welcome to this live Q&A session about our brand new program in French wine at FERRANDI Paris. I'm Barbara. I'm here today with the mastermind behind this program, Gabrielle Vitavona. How are
Hello,
you,
everybody. I'm fine. I can see the live. Where is the live now? Oh, okay. It's coming. I'm trying to join you, so I will be able to actually read for your questions, and we'll be able to have a talk. Here we go.
Exactly. That's why we have our phones.
Hello. Pirate Le Vin. Hello, Vitao. People from all around the world. Cool. Lovely meeting you. Thank you, Barbara, for having me. Hello to every Ferrandi followers.
It's our pleasure. Thank you so much for coming and for explaining this program. So before we start, I'm sure our viewers want to learn more about you. So can you quickly introduce yourself, your background in wine?
Well, I'm French. Maybe you can tell by my accent. I'm a wine specialist. I have been working in wine since 15 years. I studied wine for 4 years, a long time ago. I did the master science of the International Wine Organization. We visited 18 different countries in a year. I have the diploma of the WSET, and I also went to Davis in California. I have my own company since more or less 15 years now. I do wine consulting for restaurants, delicatessen, stores. I'm a wine journalist. I collaborated for a long time with Le Figaro, which is a French newspaper. I was their wine critic, tasting the wine. I built my own magazine later. And I also give a lot of conferences and classes about wine. And I was solicited by Ferrandi to build a very complete program about French wine that will last for 15 days, that will happen between the 11th and the 22nd of September.
Wow, thank you for that introduction. Amazing. And we have viewers from the US, Indonesia, France, Greece. Amazing. Welcome, everyone. So, Gabrielle, what is this program about? Who is this program for? What do we need to learn about the program if we're interested in attending a new program at FERRANDI Paris?
Sure. So it will be actually not in Paris, but in Dijon this time, at the beautiful and brand new 1-year-old Centre International de la Gastronomie et du Vin. I'll let you guess what that means in English, International Center for Gastronomy and Wine. So we're in the heart of Burgundy, which is one of the top viticultural areas in France, in this brand new building with top equipment. And we'll blend for theory, lots of tasting, obviously, and we'll have as well 2 days and a half of visits. And once again, between the 11th and the 22nd of September.
Registrations are open.
Yeah, what is cool as well is that we'll be, at that time, it will be the harvest. It will be harvest/vinification process, depending on the climate. I will go through this whole climate process during the classes. But so we'll get to witness as well what happens technically with the all this winemaking process, harvesting. Maybe we'll get to do it a little bit to participate.
So who is this program for? I mean, for example, if I'm interested in attending, I have zero wine knowledge. I love wine, but I'm not, I'm not very cultured about it. So who is this for? Should I need something?
It's not a problem. It's, once again, the name of the program is Introduction to the Fundamentals of French Wine. So you can understand by the name that we will have focus on French wine areas. I wanted to craft it both for people who know nothing about wine and both as well for wine geeks. I mean, both of the people who know the less and know the most should be able to get something. We'll have top teachers. We'll go to very, very interesting visits. We'll have a lot of diversity, always towards French wine as a theme. You can as well, the only basic that you need to have is to like to drink wine, which we'll do quite a lot. I mean, we'll split, we'll be responsible, but still. Liking wine, and but if you know nothing, theoretically speaking, whether it's about wine in general or French wine more specifically, it's not a matter. I'm checking a little bit who there is.
We have someone from Dijon.
Yeah, Dijon people, yes. Eloise, hello, Maëlys. Cool.
So, Gabrielle, what are the key outcomes for the program? So the program is about having, building a basis on French wine, and what are we expecting to learn once we finish the program?
Building actually a quite strong basis, because I want it to be complete. I want it to be as well, like well thought and very sharp in terms of what we're going to study. We're going to start with the methodology behind wine tasting, which is of interest, I believe, to a lot of people, because very often I'm told, well, I don't know how to taste and I don't smell anything. I just smell wine, and I'm like, okay, it's there is a method, and the method doesn't aim to be scholar, but to actually connect you with your senses. I like to compare it a little bit to a kind of meditation. So we'll get to this sensorial approach to wine tasting, which is really how to use your different senses to approach wines, to be able to have this stable basis to judge any wine, not only French wine. Of course, we will practice with wines from different French regions. We'll add to that some theory for you to understand as well how these different French wine regions were crafted, their history, how were built through time, what is the main grape varieties, what is the terroir like. And you guys are from a little bit everywhere, but in France, we love this notion of terroir. We're really into terroir, which means basically how a wine can express the taste of a specific soil, of a geographical delimitation. And we believe in that a lot in Europe, in France in particular, because our terroir is split into thousands of little pieces of ground. I mean, we have 366 viticultural areas in France that have specificities, and in some regions, we'll be in Burgundy, we'll be studying in Burgundy. Burgundy, for example, has more than 1,400 climates, and climates really describe this piece of ground with a climate, with a know-how that is specific to a region. So we'll get to understand that a lot. There will be as well classes about viticulture and enology for you to understand, well, all the process of the plant growing, but also of the wine making, how wine is made, simply white, rosé, red, champagne as well. Classes of sommellerie, which is more about, super interesting as well, super crucial as well when you love wine. So in which glasses you need to serve your wine, at which temperature, how to build a wine list or a wine cellar for yourself. What is the wine etiquette behind the service. So we'll get to know that. Food and wine matching, too, and we'll get to go to spend one full day in Champagne, discovering the region, tasting as well, and 1.5 day in Burgundy as we'll be there. It's easy as well. So pretty complete. We'll check as well for the history of wine a little bit, because we're in France. We love our wine. We're clearly stigmatized as the wine country, but we also have a very rich history. So how these regions were built through history, what are the links as well in French literature, poetry. So it's pretty wide. The aim is to open your chakras about French wine for you to become, in a short lapse of time, an expert.
And what are the advantages of having this program in Dijon, in Burgundy?
Well, as I started mentioning before, I mean, first of all, this amazing place, which is a cité, which is a building, a structure dedicated to gastronomy and wine, in which there's an atmosphere that is very coherent with the full program. You have an amazing cellar with a wide diversity of wine, where actually we'll provide the wines for our tasting, which will be top notch. And also, I mean, cooking classes, l'École du Vin from the Interprofessional Committee of Burgundy. So, like the idea is to be immersed within this structure, which is really dedicated to gastronomy and wine, within a town, which revolves a lot around gastronomy, wine, and more generally culture, within a region, which is obviously one of the most famous regions in the world, which is Burgundy, which we'll get to visit a little bit. And Dijon is also this amazing place. So yeah, we'll be pretty much in the atmosphere of wine.
And for our international viewers who don't know Dijon, it's only 1.5 hours by train from Paris. So it's very easy to get there. It's a lovely city. It's a really nice structure. So I'm listening to this and I'm thinking, what is a typical day like in class? Because there is so much that you mentioned.
So you come in the morning. You'll probably get a little croissant from Ferrandi's pastry school that is just next door. And then, classes are divided into 7 hours per day, both theory and practice. Each week, we'll go and tour the first week in Champagne, the second week for 1 day and a half in Burgundy. And there will be lots of surprises as well within the program that I don't want to spoil now, but that will be interesting, I believe, for the students, and that will have a little bit of a wow effect.
Wow.
You see, you're coming as well, Barbara.
Wow, sign me up. I'm definitely down for learning more about wine. One question we would also have, are there any like guest speakers coming, or is it just like in classroom and then going to visit? What is it like?
No. You will have clearly a lot of guest speakers that are professional in their fields and in specificity. So we'll have a very famous author talking about a certain type of wine. I don't want to spoil anything. We'll have the owner of a very famous French restaurant, Parisian restaurant, that has one of the most amazing historical cellar coming to tell us about iconic French wines and how to craft this depth of cellar that he has since many years, even centuries actually. We'll have some master of wines. We'll have some top sommelier. We'll have the committee interprofessional of the Burgundy wines as we're there, and we're sharing building with them as well. So yeah, lots of different faces. We'll have a historian coming explaining about the wine history as well. So yeah, I really wanted to have professionals that have a very sharp knowledge on their specialty.
Wow. So we'll learn about the different wines in France, so the different regions, so like Bordeaux, Provence, obviously Burgundy, Champagne, and so on. So by the end of the program, you mentioned we'll be able to come up with a wine list either for personal consumption in our cellars or eventually something else. So is it only going to be like a wine list of French wine, or will I develop skills that will help me when assessing other wines?
Well, of course, there is this focus on French wine that is, held in the name, but still, all the testing methods, all the viticultural and enology, all the summary class, food and wine matching, all that you could apply to any other type of wine from your country or any other country that you would like.
Okay, amazing. That sounds super interesting. There's a whole debate between like old and new wine, so it's good to know that we'll have more broader skills as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
So one thing that our viewers might be thinking, okay, so this sounds awesome. We'll be doing visits and tasting and eating probably with all the amazing Ferrandi pastries and viennoiserie. So what are the exams like?
Okay, so the exams will be personal exam. They will happen on the last days. They will give you a certification from Ferrandi, and they will be a blend of blind tasting. Don't worry, you will be spot on with blind tasting at that time, and as well some questions about the things that we will have seen in the different lessons that we will get for the 15 days.
Not sure I would be a good student. I would probably be like, not getting there. Can I try again?
But the important thing when you taste blind is actually not at all to find the answer of what it is. This is the cherry on the cake, but the importance is to be able to assess. Is it a good or a bad wine? Is it young or is it old? How much might it cost? This is so much more important. Finding the answer is actually, to be honest, rare for anybody. Watch any international sommelier competition, best sommelier in the world, or you can find, but within all this diversity that we have in the world, all the different ways to make it, it's not, it's no pressure if you don't find that it's whatever Sancerre or Ruy or Saint-Estèphe or whatever. You need to be able to say, okay, the wine is like that. How I describe it, is it, where does it stand in the old world of wine? Is it top notch or is it like basic?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very curious about attending this program. You might see me in September.
Sure. You're welcome.
So another questions we would have, we're talking about wine tasting and a lot of tasting. You have an idea how many wines we would be tasting by the end of the program?
Well, there is the wines tasted in class and outside of the class. So for the second category, I don't know, but for the first one, it will be, I believe, more or less 80 to 100, I would say.
Amazing. French wine.
Yeah. During the classes, huh? Yeah, like I would advise you to spit, but you're not obliged. I'm not going to check, but generally, just a bad idea.
Just a reminder, in France, the legal drinking age is 18. So you have to be at least 18 years old to attend the program. So we'll be having a lot of probably international students since the program is given in English. So a question they might have, do they need to know any French or wine terminology in French before starting the program?
No, not at all. All the program will be held in English. There might be a few words that you can't translate that we will explain, but it's no. Everything will be in English.
Okay,
with
so
only like teachers that speak good English.
okay, great. That's very important.
Or
very
who are
efficient.
American or English, actually. We'll have that as well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So she's giving you guys some tips if you want to try to guess who are the guest speakers.
Yeah, living in France, but American or British. We have a lot, you know?
So we have the registrations opening right now, so students, future students can sign up on our website. Do you have any advice for them, when preparing to come to the program? Is there any, I don't know, pre-course readings or?
I've been listing some books that they will have access to in the syllabus. They're not obliged to buy all of them. I think only one or two would be okay. We'll have the training will be pretty intense, even though entertaining and very practical. But so it's not an obligation, but it's cool to come and to once again open your mind a little bit with that.
In terms of materials, because you mentioned knowing what are the right glasses.
No, we'll provide everything. We'll provide all that.
So we just come and
you just come with your interest for wine, with your taste buds in alert, and we'll deal with the rest.
Well, maybe we'll do some practice before coming. That might be helpful.
Yeah, sure. And yeah, of course, starting to taste a little bit. Yeah. Trying to gather the questions that you would have to ask or the things that you're curious about. Yeah, would be cool too.
Another question we would have is, we're definitely meeting people who are in the different domains related to wine. So as you mentioned, maybe someone who is a producer or someone who is a sommelier. Is there any classes or modules focused on that side of the different kind of aspects of, working in wine?
Yeah, sure. Each of them will explain what their activity is more specifically about. So yeah, you'll get to understand as well what are the different works that a formation in wine can lead to. So yeah, and there is confusion. Lots of people will confuse being a sommelier or being an enologist, for example, which is very, very different. So yeah, wide broad of professions. Mine is a bit hybrid because I do a few different activities, but
that's why you're the mastermind. You've done a little bit of everything, so you can really give them a very solid overview of the basis of the wine world, the French wine world, which is one of the expertise at FERRANDI is also bringing the French savoir-faire. So that's really nice new program that we have. So guys, if you have questions, feel free to write them right now in our comments or in the Instagram live comment session. I'm not sure you have questions, but otherwise there is a link on the Instagram bio and on the YouTube description if you want to learn more about the program, how you can sign up, what should prepare to come to France or anything related to the program. So you can just fill the form. We'll contact you. Gabrielle, is there any
people?
Yeah, very international as well. So this
is very international. As I see all the profiles from different countries, I must say we're not chauvinistic. Once again, it's the theme. It's about discovering France as well. I like very much wines as well from all around the world. Maybe we can replicate the program for different zones in the future. But
Absolutely, that's a good idea, actually. So, is there any final message you like to say to our viewers about the program?
Well, I'm very much looking forward to meet you in September. We'll have a great time. And generally, this time of the year in France and in vineyards with all the leaves starting to get a little bit reddish, but at the same time, it's sunny, it's beautiful, and discovering Dijon, which is by itself a very important city about wine. I mean, and all the people that are super excited to come and teach you about French wine, come and join.
And as a reminder, the program takes place on September 11th until the 22nd. We're looking forward to talking to you and teaching you about wine and all this wonderful French world. Thank you so much for
Thank you,
coming to
Barbara.
FERRANDI in Paris.
So I guess, Barbara, we'll see you in September as well.
Definitely.
Okay, cool. You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Have a great evening.
Bye. Cheers.